It was through some of the darkest times of my life when spirit began to make itself known to me through signs and clues from the other side. It helped me understand that I was not alone, that I was connected, and there was more to life than just this experience. I call those magic moments. I'm Christy Simoncelli, and I'll be your host for this podcast, Unreasonable Magic, where I will share some of the most compelling stories that cannot be explained away through logic from my work as a psychic medium, an astrologer, and a human design consultant, working with clients in my own life. Please join me for the magic. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unreasonable Magic. So this is episode 1. I am Christy Simoncelli, and I will be your host. I am really excited to have you all here. I've been wanting to do a podcast for I don't know how many years now because I have stories I want to share. As a person, I'm highly skeptical. I just happen to work as a psychic medium. I've been a lifelong student of astrology, but I also worked for 20 years in public health and cancer prevention research. So I feel like I cross both bridges of left and right brain. I do a lot of writing. I love nature. Um, I do all these things and I'm in the world, but I experience really amazing stories as a result of the work that I do with spirit, with clients. And these moments have changed my life, and it is my mission to help other people find the same kinds of things if they can. I want to share these magic moments with you because to me, it makes us feel more connected, less alone. And I think that's how we heal as in community. My intention with this podcast is not to convince you of anything. I simply invite you to have an open mind, listen to these stories. I'm going to introduce you to other people. We have a special guest tonight as well who have some pretty amazing things to share. This is not about spiritual bypassing. Life is hard. Things are sad. Hard things happen. Those things need to be worked through. But if these things can help us in the moment, then so be it. And I highly encourage everybody seek what they need, but this podcast is here simply to help you consider there might be more going on in the world, in our daily lives than meets our eye. So that's what we're here for. Today, we have a special guest, a Christene Quinn Bland, one of my oldest, dearest friends. I call her Quinn. She calls me Hens. So if you've ever wondered why my business is called Hens Crossing, this is part of it. Hens is my maiden name. When I was a kid out at our cottage, there was a sign to indicate Henses would be crossing the road because we had cousins across the street who also were named Hens. And so it was like a mama chicken and little chicks, and we would cross back and forth. So good fun. And now we do crossing of other kinds of things for other sorts of people. So Quinn is here for a variety of reasons. One, she is hysterical, one of the funniest, kindest, sweetest people I know. Two, she knows me better than most people because Quinn was my college roommate, and who knows you better than your college roomie? And she also has been witness to some pretty cool stuff right along with me. So without further ado, welcome, Quinn. I would call you
Oh,
Christine, but I can't. So
no,
please
it's super weird.
tell us about you, Quinn.
Ooh. So, yeah, my name's Christine. I work in healthcare in digital marketing, and my life is not nearly as exciting as you described yours. I mean, I've got, 3 boys, and um, am a practicing Catholic and have for many, many years, just always just thought very mainstream and traditional and really still do. I have no special gifts that Christy is going to share with you other than, just a couple of things here and there that I have witnessed, but I definitely believe in it and am definitely very proud of you very bold move taking this path and pushing forward with this and just certainly always support you and just want to um you know I can talk be here to support you forever, so you rock it, just keep going.
Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate it. You are so kind. Which takes us to where we met at St. Bonaventure University, our Catholic university that we attended. And for the record, I was born and raised Catholic. I firmly believe in God and Jesus and all the things. I just don't go to church so much. So that's kind of my thing.
Mhm.
But Quinn, We met at St. Bonaventure by the guiding hand of the universe who put the 2 of us together in one.
It's triple bunk, a triple room,
Yeah, they
and
don't have those anymore, because
well,
I think it's a fire hazard or
it's
something.
right? I mean, we're lucky that none of us hurt ourselves, so
Yeah, I
but
did bonk my head a
mm,
lot, I do remember that, but
you did, you did,
yeah,
yeah.
I think that
But
year I was on top of the 3
yeah,
bunks, yeah.
so I when I was at orientation, I met our 3rd roommate, and then we were randomly placed with you, and we were like, "Who's this chick?" You know? And, I can't remember if we exchanged letters through snail mail first or we actually called each other. I think we sent letters and we talked, and I remember you were, like, feeling each other out, like, "Oh, what kind of music do you like?" And I was like, "Well, I like you too." And you were like, "Ah, girls in," you know? And I think I remember after we met, you were like, "I just pictured you with, like, pigtails and red hair because I guess I'm
I
very"
really did, and I don't know why I did that, so I apologize if that offends anyone
No,
who has red
no,
hair in
no,
the audience. I did. I do remember a phone call. So Quinn always calls me the elephant because I remember all the details, so just in case she pulls
never
out the
forget.
elephant card, I am the elephant. But I do remember a phone call at some point because I was out at the cottage, it was summertime, and we used to have a phone on the wall at the cottage, and I remember being in the kitchen talking to you on it, and I was like, "Oh, she seems cool. Maybe not, like, my type, but we'll figure it out," and we did.
Yeah,
We figured
you're
it
so
out
cool.
real good.
We're 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 friends ever since. Lucky you.
Yeah, well, what I wanna say to whoever does the roommate selection for St. Bonaventure, and I know the system is different now, but because I am an astrologer in addition to a psychic medium and all the other things that I do, Quinn is a Capricorn sun and has a Gemini moon and a Virgo rising. So that's relevant because I have a Cancer rising, and Cancer rising people always do well with the opposite, which is Capricorn. So in terms of friends, partnerships, connections, that kind of a thing. So you could even look at that for like relationships. I have never dated or married a Capricorn, but I have a swath of lovely, beautiful Capricorn women that I call on for things like this. Can you
See?
Capricorn something for me?
There
Because
we
I am soft. But what Quinn and I both have is a Gemini moon. And I think that's why we get along so well because we have the same emotional capacity. We think things through the
go.
same
So
way, very frenetic with the Gemini
I
moon.
or
We have always had fun together. We just actually said last week on text that if we lived near each other, because Quinn lives in New Jersey and I do not, that we would probably get nothing done. So,
nothing.
nothing, because
No,
we would be just messing around like we used to mess around. But anyway, at St. Bonaventure, we met, we became fast friends, and the rest, as they say, is history.
so
So, can we talk about how haunted our dorm was? This is Devereaux Hall at St. Bonaventure
yeah.
University, if anyone else attended and or lived in that dorm facility.
Yep. I have to say, my opinion, it was haunted. Yes.
Every
Yes.
year there was something happened to us, every year.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
Should we chronological?
yeah, let's do it in order. Talk about
So
freshman year.
correct
Yeah.
yeah, because uh it was a night out and you and I decided to stay in. Maybe we had a test the next day. I don't know, whatever.
I'm sure.
A-
We probably
And
yeah, mhm.
yes,
We're
I was
good students.
you were more studious than me. Anyway, and um we had I heard a man sleeping on the floor by the sink, because we had a sink in our bathroom too. We triple bunked, but we had a sink.
3 bunk beds
And
right on top of each other, yes, mhm.
and yeah, so now you continue because now I heard it, but I think you
I recall that now, mind you, this is 30 plus years ago, so the details might be fuzzy, but the thing that sticks in my brain is that we both saw at some point in the course of activity a man dressed all in black with a hat and a long black coat on. I thought I saw him by the sink. You thought you saw him by the closet, whichever. I do remember that morning, though, looking to see if anyone had left dents in our green shag carpet because I couldn't really tell. Remember, we were
yeah,
looking to see was there a head here? We weren't sure if
there's
it was a
the evidence.
real person, a ghost, we didn't know. But it was creepy and it was unsettling, and I think from then on, we locked our doors all the time, even though we
Yeah,
thought it was our 3rd roommate's friend, but she did not come home that night because she was staying somewhere else.
yeah.
So, that was mildly terrifying, which then led us to both pull out, our protective devices that our fathers had given us. I don't know, did I you had the pepper spray, I had the
I
mace. Yeah.
I pepper spray. Yes, you
Yeah.
had that.
I
Yeah.
had mace because I had worked at the Erie County Fair selling Italian sausages at the late shift, and my parents would have to come pick me up a half an hour each way to pick me up, and so my dad bought me mace to stand in the parking lot with the people who might leave the Erie County Fair late at night. So I had mace, and then we decided to go into the hallway and collectively spray them on the walls to see if they worked, so that if we again had some sort of intruder or ghost presence, we would know
We
how to
were
use them.
protected
But then we smelled them, and turns out they worked because I remember being like, "Ah, yeah." Anyway,
for
um,
quite some time. Like, it's
it
effective.
stays with you, yes. So, in case anyone is curious, this is how Quinn and I roll. So, this is sort of why we would get nothing done if we lived near each other. But that was freshman year. I remember the
Just
phone
not
would ring,
here.
no one would be there, and I'm getting fuzzy on which year was which, but I remember in sophomore year, there was, like, a candle that kept relighting. There was weird stuff that happened with the music, and then, some there was
Music.
yeah.
It's also freshman year, though,
Yeah.
and the some
The
forgot
music, and it was, like, just stuff, and then I remember
and
also when we moved to the 3rd floor, when we got older, the Dev Jogger. We would hear the Dev Jogger at
well,
night.
there's a jogger, and that was quite frequent that we would hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Quite but I also heard horses, like a horse and buggy, when we were
I
in the room under the arch that would
yeah,
walk e every night,
yeah.
every night. Well,
Interesting. I
I
don't
that
know if I ever
not
heard the horse and buggy, but I have heard others have that experience, so that's not surprising. And then I would say for those who don't know anything about St. Bonaventure or Devereaux Hall where we lived, which is still a dorm today because my daughter lived there when she went to school many years after me, the 5th floor, 5th Dev, as we used to call it when we were there, was closed off, and it was supposed to be haunted, and there was rituals and things that went on up there, and I don't know, stuff happened, but they wouldn't let you up there. They do let you up now, I will say, but only on Halloween, they do, like, a tour of 5th Dev, so
they
they acknowledge the dorm is haunted, okay, so the school does, but I think, Quinn, we were just reflecting before we got on about that man in black, okay? So, it was
yeah.
our senior year, we had just graduated, it was senior week, and we were still lingering around town. We were at some bar, shockingly, I don't know what we were doing there, but, we met some younger girls who had just been in our same room, 104 Dev, and I can give the address because we don't live there anymore, and just had described previously to other people about a similar guy standing there all dressed in black in their room, which clearly made it a ghost. Like, there's no way that this was 4 years later, someone else would be randomly in their room, really committed to 104 Dev when there are other rooms in the dorm. And I remember hearing that and being like, "Whoa, that's really scary." Um,
I think you hit me.
you think he hit you?
No, I think you hit me. You're like, "Quinn!" Like, "What?"
Oh, I probably did hit you. I'm so sure that I did. Anyway, I'm sure I did because I'm always a little animated, as we know. So that's a little bit of our backstory. Our life in the haunted dorm. There's many
Yeah,
more tales we could tell, and most of them
uh,
involved alcohol and pizza, but we don't have to talk about that. We're going to talk about what happened many years later um, when this was, I think, one of the most profound stories that has happened to me as a result of a connection with you and other people who come in later. Before I ever did any of this work, before I was ever trying to reach out or connect or do anything, um, it is all kind of started for me when my mother got sick back in 2018. About a year or so before that, I had started to have profound dreams and things would come in to my brain that I don't know where they came from, information and such. And then I do believe now in retrospect that it was setting me up for this stuff that was coming next for me. And in 2018, my mother fell ill in October. We did not know what was wrong with her. She was in a Florida hospital on vacation, had been in Orlando on vacation, and then was taken to the hospital by her friends because she was having trouble walking. It escalated, and eventually my brothers and I, my stepdad came down to be with her. And there was one particular day where we were just sitting in her room. It was early on in the process. We did not know what was happening. She was resting, sleeping, and just my brother and I, who is an engineer, who's very left brain, very based in fact kind of person. He's very left brain to my right brain. And we were just sitting there together, kind of wondering. I'm sure we were texting people and such. And then Quinn reached out and texted me, and you said something like, praying for you guys. I saw this and I thought of you. It was a prayer for healing from Archangel Raphael. Do you recall this?
I do. With my Catholicity, angels were there, you learn the base I don't say because
Catholicity, is that a word?
it is a word.
Okay.
Catholicity, yeah. You learn about the gospel, you learn about the disciples, the apostles, all the Bible stories, and, Jesus, God, you learn the prayers, pretty straightforward, but, like, with angels, I was like, "Yeah, angels are there," and, but, like, there was never anything that, like,
Wasn't a lot of angel guidance, I would say, in the
no one
Catholic
ever
Church.
talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like, and I'm like, "There that's great." So I can't recall why I started looking into them, not looking into them, just, like, studying them and, like, "What is this, Archangel Michael? What is his deal?" And then those other I think we had talked one time about that book, Angels in My Hair, that was an
Mhm.
audio that you referred to me, and I can't remember if that was before.
I think that it was because that was referred to me as well, and I know you had a similar. Now we're going off on an angel tangent, but I remember when
That's right.
I first was exposed to that book, because I kinda felt like you, like, I was aware of angels, I see them in church, I know this is a thing, but I didn't really know how one would engage with them or how real they were, or, like, was this just. But I know when I started reading that book, and the book is called Angels in My Hair, and it's by Lorna Byrne, who is a woman
Yeah.
who can see angels like you and I could see each other. She sees angels around people. So she wrote this book and others to follow. And she's a lovely, wonderful
Mhm.
soul. I've never met her, but I've watched her videos and listened to her talk. And I know people who have met her, and it's just, she's wonderful. But she wrote this book, Angels in My Hair, which was very eye opening for me. And it was very moving for me. And I remember once I read that, as I was reading it, even, I kept seeing white feathers and clouds in the sky that look like angels, and I was like, "Am I losing my mind?" But I felt like the more I focused on them, the more they showed up, so I thought, "This is weird," right? And I've told many people over the course of time to read this book because I feel like her story is so compelling, you can't help but believe it because it's true, and then as you work with this stuff in life, as I have come to do, you see, they are ever present, and I've met countless people who have stories about angels, but then you are studying these angels in your Catholicity, and and you send us this.
And so, yes, I was like, "Who is the angel for they're guiding people through illness? And, who would you pray to?" And Raphael, and I said and then I was like, "Let me shoot this off to Hens and let her know I'm thinking of her," and what I did.
So we're back in the hospital. Timmy and I are sitting there. Quinn sends off the text, this prayer for Archangel Raphael, which I wasn't even familiar with. And it says something about a green light and this and then, this prayer for healing. And I'm like, thank you. That's very kind of you. We had no idea what was going on. So we appreciated all the support we could get. And I mean, within seconds, not even minutes, but within the minute, a man walks in the room, a little man. He was a hospital chaplain, and he says to us, "We're here. I'm here as the hospital chaplain. Would your mother like a prayer, or some or communion?" He'd offer a communion. I'm like, "Well, she's sleeping, so maybe let's do like a prayer or a blessing, whatever you do for that." And so he did perform a blessing of sorts, and she didn't stir. It was fine. She was very peaceful. And then he came over to us and we explained that we were from out of town and whatever. And he said, "Oh, I am the priest at a local church. If while you're in town you want to come to church, you can come to mass. Here's my bulletin for my church." So we're like, "This is nice." Probably not gonna go because we're neither of us are practicing Catholics, but we're being nice. And so he hands us the bulletin. The bulletin is from St. John Vianney Church in Orlando. The frog is croaking, so that's fun. Um so loud. It's this little teeny frog. Anyway, um, so he hands us the bulletin for St. John Vianney Church in Orlando, Florida. My brother saw it first and he was like, wait a hot second. So, backstory was my grandfather, my mom's dad, had passed away that year, like 6 months before. He was 95 years old. He died in March of 2018. And he was the most Catholic person I know. I don't know the Pope, but I would imagine he's a close second. He was uber Catholic, like to the nth degree. Very, very Catholic. He went to St. John Vianney Church. He cleaned the church. He counted the money. He volunteered. He was an usher. He did whatever you could at the church to be useful. He did. He went every day to church. He was a faithful servant of the Catholic Church. And so he loved his St. John Vianney Church in Buffalo, New York, where he was a member. And so my brother says, well, this is kind of weird. This guy's church is St. John Vianney. And I was like, yeah, that definitely is notable. And I was thinking, like, cool, that's grandpa's way of letting us know he's with us, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So then
mhm.
the man, who was very kind, goes to leave. And as he leaves, I catch a glimpse of his name tag, Father Raphael. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was like, a feather, again, the feather. And I said, so where's my brother is stuck on the St. John Vianney. I'm like, well, here, we'll do you one better. The man's name is Father Raphael. So you sent us that. The man was probably walking down the hall as you sent us the text message to come give a
Mhm,
prayer blessing to my mother. I'm sorry. What? Like, what? Kiss say, as you say.
eh,
How do you explain that? Right?
well, you don't. You
You don't.
don't.
You
I
don't.
think I think I know, you're always saying, "We're all connected," and then just, there's just some synchronicities.
Yes, there are, and the things that nudged you to reach out to me that
I know.
I
I
mean, it
send
would have been even if this man walked in and he was sent from St. John Vianney Church, that would have been meaningful, but the fact that he was Father
Right.
Raphael from St. John Vianney Church made it the most wild thing I could think of in that moment, and I felt so certain that this meant my grandfather was a part of this, helping my mother with what she had to deal with,
Mhm,
and I can't explain that, and I don't think we need to explain that, and I've written about this in my blog, so if you've heard the story before, I don't care because it's a great story and we should all talk about it. It's a magical story, so if we're talking about unrealistic magic, these moments of profound what the hell that we can't explain, these are them. And that's the kind of stuff we're going to unpack as we get into this podcast. These are kinds of stories that happen to me a lot, not all the time, but a fair amount, both while I'm working and when I'm not working. And but I think the thing of it is too is that I am looking for it. I look for this. My intention is that I will find magical moments often, and so I do. So I would encourage anyone who likes this kind of stuff, like, make that your intention, make that kind of your thing. Um, I do just wanna comment because the Petunia the frog, who was just croaking, which I could not prepare or plan for her to croak during the episode, and Quinn, you don't know this story either, so this will be a live story for you. When I first started having visions and things come to me. I did not know what to do with it. I was quite freaked out about it. So I went and started taking some classes. And so I found Angie, who would become my teacher later after my mother died.
mhm,
This was probably about maybe the month before my mother even got sick. So this was very close in time. I went to an all day workshop and it was a medium from Lilydale, Greg Keene, who was leading the workshop. He's great. He had us in this workshop and we needed to give readings to each other. He says, whoever speaks to each other with a message in the class. Now, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, what? Why would I have a message? I don't know anything. I want
mhm,
to learn how to do things. And he said, whoever had a message for someone else to share it, he goes, if you share, I'll give you a reading. So it was kind of like this like incentive to give a reading, right? I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. So I'm not going to get any information today, I guess. So I just kind of sat there with my arms crossed like a brat.
mhm,
And so there was a meditation he walked us through, and we had to set our intention that we would get a message for someone else in the room, look at someone, get some information. So there was a woman I was sort of assigned to more or less, and when I looked at her, I all I got was the word petunia. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna say Petunia because that's stupid, right? Like, I mean, like, if I was like, "I have a message for you, Petunia," right? Like, that's not a message, right? So I didn't say anything, I didn't speak up, and then he said to me, "You have a message for this woman, please share it." No, I'm like, "First of all, how do you know?" I can tell you now that you can tell when there's energy between 2 people, and I know that now. So I looked at her and I looked her dead in the eye and I just said, Petunia. And what was really wild about it was that as soon as I said it, more stuff came. So it was like I just needed that first word to be the thing that came out of my mouth. And then there was images and things that went with it. And I saw her like on a big porch watering plants and it was a whole thing. And then she went on to corroborate that she had just that morning, because it was like early October, been watering her petunias and she spoke to them and told them how beautiful they were, that they were still blooming at this late stage of the year. And I thought, "Oh, so petunia, okay, I gotta say
So
petunia."
so the flowers were coming?
No, but the word I was given the word to say to her that would be meaningful to her that meant nothing to me, right? Like petunia
Uh,
meant zip to
yeah,
me. But I had to trust and believe that if I said petunia to her, it would be useful.
interesting.
And
Now
then as soon as I said it, more stuff came. But when she told me that she was having a conversation with her plants as she watered them that morning, I was a little taken aback, to put it bluntly.
no, there is a lot to that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
But
this was back in before my mother even got sick, before any of this was going on. I was just trying to figure out why I was being bombarded by stuff. So then flash forward to now, 2026, my son says a couple months ago, "I want to get a pet." He's 25. I'm like, "Could you get something I don't have to be involved in, like a fish, maybe?" He said he wanted a fish or a frog, and I was like, and I love. He said, "I really want to get a frog." I'm like, "I'm gonna care about a frog. I'm gonna worry about a frog, but okay, whatever you wanna do." So he gets this frog. The frog he thought was a boy, but when he got home, he figured out the beard was the wrong color to be a boy, it's a girl. So he initially had named it Frodo, and then he named it Petunia. But I never told him about Petunia. I never told that story to my children. I have told it countless times in the classes I teach, but I have never told it to my son. So then I told him about Petunia. So what are the odds of him naming that frog Petunia? And you're wondering, why is she in my office? Because it was too cold in the basement where he had her. So
yeah.
Petunia. So
So what
he
did he say when you said, yeah, you told him the petunia story?
he's highly skeptical. So he was probably like, "Oh, that's funny." Nick,
Okay.
he doesn't
So wait,
really
back a second because you said something earlier. How do you, and this is something you never told me about, that how do you know when there are energies changed?
like I said, if I like how that guy could tell that I had something to say to that lady.
Yeah, yes.
Well, it's more of a feeling. I do every month, I do offer my meditation and message circle. And so we do guided meditation and then messages are shared amongst the people. And if I'm standing in the center of the room and I can feel someone like literally boring a hole into me, like I have something to offer to someone across the room. So it's more of a feeling. It's almost like kind of like a magnetic energy, like you can feel the pull of it. And
Mhm.
so when I sense that between 2 people, I'll turn around, I'll say, "Hey, Sue, do you have something to say?" "Yes, I do." Or, "Hey," and then there always is something. So I could feel it. This gentleman maybe could see it. I don't know what his tactic was, but I can recognize it now.
Mhm.
I didn't know what was what before. But
But you, that's fine. Got it.
yeah.
Yep. So you would say that after your mom passed, that you really took a step back and said, I want to enhance this ability that I think I might have and do more with it.
No,
And
I think it just kinda was going that route, and she would come to me in dreams, and I think she helped me actually step closer to this. So I feel like this was sort of my path all along. I maybe
Mhm.
didn't know it, but she when she passed, things really amplified for me, and I didn't wanna do anything with it for at least a year or longer after she died. I was like, "Hands off, I don't wanna talk about this." Stuff was still happening, but I didn't want it, and, but it helped me stay close to her, and it helped me, It helped me find healing, I think, because I was able to see there's more to this than just this, right? There's more. So
Sure.
I have complete faith. And since that time, her, my dad, other people from my family, my husband's family, they come through and they help me as guides and teachers to help me connect other people in reading. So it's kind of fascinating, really, the way that it works, which we will talk about that in a specific case next episode. So please come back if you're interested in hearing more about that. I have a client who's going to come on and talk about a pretty life-changing moment that occurred between she and I over the course of a year or so with her family. And it all started after she reconnected with her dad, who had been gone almost 60 years. So it was a random, is anything random? I don't think so, a random reading at Lilydale, and her dad came through, and it ended up changing her life, her mom's life, and so much else comes through. So stay tuned if you're interested in this kind of stuff, because we're going to talk about it next time. But this is what we're going to do here on Unrealistic Magic. We're going to ask questions. We're going to talk about moments of connection, synchronicity, touches with the divine, and things that appear miraculous, but that can't be explained away. So that's what we're going to do here. Quinn, I'm so grateful that you're here and you can ask those questions with your journalism degree. This is your moment. Your Gemini moon wants to ask questions. We are question askers. So
I can't enough, I don't know. It's just you just were talking and just it's very engaging. Heard that you thought to ask me.
yes, you're my Capricorn queen. So as I said, I'm always looking for a good Capricorn lady to help me through something. So I hope you have all found a little bit of magic in this podcast today. We will have more coming soon. And again, Quinn, I love you. Thank you for being here with me.
Mm,
Hopefully we
it's
can get you back on a couple other episodes to ask more questions and
when yeah,
be that
when
person.
it'd
So,
be lovely. Great.
all
Thank you
right.
so much.
Love you, dear. Thank you so much for listening to Unreasonable Magic. It's been a pleasure to share my stories with you. Join us next time as we explore the other side from the perspective of a daughter who had not heard from her father in over 50 years.